I frantically tried to call her, but the call went on voicemail. Her voice announced the message, "Leave me a voicemail. I will get back to you soon." Her recorded message for the voicemail, but I wanted her live voice. "Hurry!" I barked as Kostaya made a narrow turn. I already broke 2 signals. I dialed her phone again, yet again, voicemail. "Fiak! Fiak! Fiak!" I cursed, my head playing many of the notorious scenarios. I clenched my fist and then unclenched it. She has to be all right. She has to be. She must be in the shower. I tried to calm myself down, breath in and breathe out. Yesterday, when she came into my office, played in my head where I last saw her. Yesterday, she came with a whole cake in her hand. Munching on it, she sat on the couch with her Kindle and made herself comfortable. I leaned back in my chair and stared at her and the whole lot of cake she was about to devour. "Leave that. You have had enough sugar," I told her, and she rolled her eyes at me and kept devouring the cake. "Mia!" I called her, and she looked at me with a pout, her eyes piercing into me. "I'm craving it," she whined. "That's the icing you're craving, woman. Take my icing," I told her as she licked the spoon. "That's salty. I want sweet," she said with a smirk that says a lot of things. I raised my eyebrow. "Is that so?" I asked, and she nodded her head, giving me her puppy eyes. "In that case, put icing on it and taste both," I teased her. "Aye, you nasty, rude husband. Let me eat and don't disturb. I'm reading a very critical scene right now," she scolded me. "Oh, you mean PRN?" She gave me a fly. "Come here, Mia," I told her and sighed, getting up and coming to me with her cake and Kindle. She sat in my lap as she ate and read. I have been so busy that I don't get a chance to spend my time with her. I smelled her hair and then her neck. She was so engrossed in her reading. "Is that interesting?" I asked, and she nodded. "Read it to me," I told her, and she started reading it for me, a blush creeping at her neck and cheeks as read further. "I can give you a practical performance much better than that," I told her and bent her over my desk. She didn't resist, as if that was her movie from the beginning. After that, she sat on my lap, holding me close. "This baby is going to break my ribs, I swear," she complained as she felt a kick. Even I felt it on my abdomen. I chuckled and she swatted my chest. I held her chin and kissed her hard. Present. She stayed with me and fell asleep on my lap. I settled her on the couch for the time being, and then I took her to bed. I came without telling her today. She was sleeping when I had to leave early. She usually calls me when she wakes up, but she didn't even call me either. I kept chanting the mantra. The car came to a halt, and I hastily exited the car. I ran inside and looked for her. I looked in the living room, kitchen, garden, library, and our room. Bathroom was also empty. I checked everywhere, and she was nowhere to be seen. I checked the photage, and it was tampered. Check the CCTV around the area. I want my wife and that traitor right in front of me. I barked at Kostya. How could that happen? How could I not recognize the traitor right in front of my eyes? If anything happens to her, I will chop that traitor limb by limb.
When I hissed out as my legs gave out. I can't. I need to pee, and I need to sit. She has been kicking me non-stop. I can't. It hurts so much. "Please," I cried out to a stone. That stone moved and laughed menacingly. I don't know how long it had been, but it feels like 1,000 hours had passed since I'm standing with my hands tied above my head. My arms feel sore. My feet are swelling and my legs are giving out. I whimpered when the baby kicked me again, and so hard that it made it hard for me to breathe. "Please let me sit down," I begged. "No mercy on the enemy. Learn from the best," the stone replied. "I can't. Please. I need to pee." I told the stone, but it was the stone. "Then pee," the stone replied. I crossed my legs. My bladder is barely holding together. I shivered. "I will make your husband pay, and the payment is you and that child in you. He will know how it feels when something so dear is taken away from one." The stone spat. I couldn't hold my bladder. and the baby pushed at my bladder and kicked me again so hard. I trembled as I released the pressure in my bladder. I sobbed. It's so embarrassing. The coldness of the basement getting to me through my soaked trousers. Why? He gave you everything. He trusted you. Then why? I shouted at her. She came forward. The glow of one bulb made her look monstrous with those lines on her face. Because he killed my son, she replied back. He did not, Ogla. He did not. Please release me. I will ask him to forgive you. I whimpered as the baby kicked the same spot again. Please, I begged. He killed my son, she shouted back. He did not, I shouted back. She slapped me across the face. Hard. He killed Elijah. Whatever he did, he was my son. He did not have to take his life. She shouted at me. She held my chin in a bruising grip. Now I will show him. I will break him. I will make him lick my shoes. Because he has only one weakness, that is you. He will never find you. Not here. He wouldn't think of you being here in the same house under his roof. But he will look in the city, in the whole country for you. She spoke and I sobbed. Bitch, you made a stinky mess. She mocked me. She disappeared and came back with hose. She turned it on me, the water drenching me from head to toe. Beat her. She spoke, turning the hose off, and I was drenched and shivering from the cold. She laughed and went back to the dark place. I hope you find me, Jungkook. I don't feel fine. Our child is panicking. I can feel it. Please find me soon. I fear I won't make it out alive.
Jungkook, Mia! I spoke as I heard her calling for me. I looked around, but my office was empty. The eerie glow of the bulb haunting as I look around and find no one. It's been 7 hours now, 7 hours, since she is missing. There is footage of Ogla making an exit on a public CCTV. She had a bag in her hand, a huge suitcase. God forbid if she took my wife in that suitcase, but I can't deny the truth. She used the back gate. She knows it because she had been working for me for ages. She knows the blank spots. She somehow knows how to tamper with the system. My system. I have killed 2 of my men. I have beaten them to death because they were watching the security cameras. All of my men once again hit with fear. Every single man I pass holds his breath. They know exactly how ruthless I could be. And when it comes to my wife, I won't spare a slightest negligence. I would have killed them all if Dad hadn't pulled me back and taken me to the office where I destroyed the office. He went to Spain but came back because of her. He also loves her. He always wanted a daughter, and he tested her every way possible to see if she was eligible to be my wife. I'm losing my head. She is so strong. Stay strong a little more, baby. I will come and get you. I promise, little fire.
Why, my whole body is shivering and I'm getting dizzy. My teeth clatter due to the cold. She is playing with me. She is torturing me. As she sees I'm getting dry, she turns the water on me. My clothes are sticking to me as my second skin. My arms are numb. The only thing keeping me awake is my daughter, continuously moving and kicking me. Last night was amazing. I was with him. I fell asleep in his arms. He held me through the night in his safe cocoon. I felt blissful and cherished. But when I woke up, he was not with me. I woke up a little later than usual. My heart was telling me something was not right. I took my phone and tried calling him, but it was not working. I checked my phone and there was no SIM card in it. I tried the internet and it was not working. I went to pee because my bladder was about to explode. I freshened up and came out to see my bed made. I thought Ogla must have done it, but the foreboding was still there. I went to the kitchen and found her there. Good afternoon, Ogla. Where is Jungkook? I asked. He went out. she said with a cryptic tone. Okay. Can I have my breakfast, please? I asked, and she gave me a look. There is no breakfast for you, she told me, and I frowned. What do you mean? I asked. She came near me, and the hair on my neck rose. She slapped me hard, and then she banged my head to the counter. I groaned and staggered back, feeling dizzy. I felt her dragging me, but I couldn't move. My head was groggy, and I fell unconscious. Present. Now. I'm stuck here. My body is giving up. I don't know how to get through this. She has gone to get us some snakes, as she said. Because she's enjoying my suffering and his. I tried to pull at the chains and it bit onto my skin. I pulled at my hand and the chain pushed at the bone of my thumb. Come on, I whispered, and the chain clanked loudly. I jerked on it a few times and almost broke my thumb. My breath came in pants. My heart rate went up as I tried to get myself together. The baby kicked again and knocked the breath out of my lungs. I felt dizzy from the force of it. My body shivering as I feel my energy going down. I heard a commotion and I tried to breathe, but my breaths were going faster. My teeth were chattering. I felt a cold sweat breaking onto my body. My feet refused to hold my weight. I feel like I'm going to die. My baby. My child.
Jungkook. I was going out with Kostya when I saw drying footsteps on the wooden floor. There is no one here. No maid, no cook, nothing. At first I tried to ignore it, but then something clicked. I have been looking all around the city. I have checked trains, buses, flights, and I found nothing. The intel would have found this traitor of a woman by now. She is no pro. What if she is using me to hurt me? She knows the passcode to the basement, and the footsteps are leading to the basement. Follow the footsteps, I asked Kostya, indicating the footsteps going in the opposite direction to the basement. He followed my orders, with a gun loaded in his hand. I took out my gun as well as I made my way to the basement door. I punched the code and descended the stairs, my heart beating aggressively in my chest and a string tugging me closer. I feel like I'm close to her. I can smell her, but it's so faint. But I could be hallucinating. I descended down and I saw a single light in a room, the torture room, I use for my torture sessions. The door was slightly ajar. I carefully went near it, my footsteps the only sound echoing in there, and I slowly pushed the door open. My eyes immediately landed on the one figure I was searching for, the one and only. I moved towards her and a shadow caught my eye. I turned around in time to escape the knife Ogla was holding. I held her wrist holding the knife and slapped her hard. She fell on the ground and I fisted her hair. "You fucking traitor bitch," I shouted at her. I raised my hand to hit her again, but it halted in the air when I heard a heart-wrenching whimper from my back. I looked back to see her swaying and shivering. I hit the alarm button on the wall, and the blaring sound echoed all over the mansion. I quickly went to her and released her. She fell in my arms. She was wet all over and shivering. She keeps getting close to me, seeking my warmth. My army flooded the entire basement, and I took her in my arms and took her upstairs. She was shivering continuously. She whimpered when I laid her on the couch. "Blanket!" I shouted as I ripped her wet clothes off. She was bare, and I placed my jacket on her. The little strength she had she used and fell on the ground wanting me close to her. Someone wrapped the blanket around her as I held her close. I took off her wet trousers, but she kept on shivering. I took her near the fireplace, and she was still shivering. She frowned her eyebrows as if in pain. "Mia, look at me. Open your eyes, baby. Look at me," I asked her. My heart constricting in my chest as I witnessed her in this state. "Mia." I called her softly, and a tear fell from her eyes. She whimpered. "It hurts." She whispered 2 broken syllables. "YN daughter." Dad came running. I checked her nerves, and they were fast. I placed my hand on her heart, and it was beating crazily. I checked the baby, but when I placed my hand on her side near her ribs, I was shocked. She whimpered in pain with just my hand over it. Her rib was broken. I removed the blanket slightly, and there was a huge purple mark on the side. "Get the fucking car!" I shouted, picking her up in my arms and basically running outside. "Please keep them both safe, God. Please. I don't want to lose them. Please, God. Please." I prayed in my head. Her eyes shutting, and I want to beg her to look at me just once. Just once. I want to stare into those beautiful orbs. Just once.